Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show NFL edition with Antoine Real Stewart, to be joined later by nephew Caleb Lopez. Stu, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
I'm doing great. We had an awesome week in the NFL, which I cannot wait to dive into. I think we learned a lot about what's going on in the NFL, and we have a clearer picture, not a much clearer picture, but a clearer picture of what we may be dealing with. I think there are a few more weeks that we have to go before we're kind of like pretty sure. I don't think we're 100% sure yet, but we did learn some things. And I want to start out by going over the scores from week 4. Unfortunately, we're going to start out with my boys. Actually, before we do that, we're going to bring in nephew Caleb Lopez. Caleb, how are you, sir?
Hey guys, what's up,
Hey,
Stu?
what's up, Caleb?
So, Caleb,
Uh,
we're going to start in with the final results from week 4. I was telling Stu that we learned some things about the NFL, but we've got a few more weeks before we really know what we're dealing with. But we learned some things, though.
yeah,
And first thing we start out with are my boys, the Packers and Lions. We went down 34-20, and we learned some things about the Packers in this game. I think that they are not a very good team. At the same time, they're not a bad team. They're kind of middling. If they can pull things together, they might win 9 games. Your thoughts on that, Stu?
Yeah, I think the Packers are not a bad team, not a very good team, kind of in that middle section. But what I learned the most from it is the play calling. The play calling was not very good, and it
No, it
didn't
wasn't.
complement Jordan Love at all.
No,
You guys didn't run the ball. I mean,
no.
Aaron Jones was back, his first game back after injury, and he got 5 touches the whole game.
Yeah,
I mean, some running backs can get 5 touches in a drive. He only got 5 touches the whole game. And your second back, AJ Dillon, only got 5 touches. So between both of your running backs, there were 10 touches for the entire game. And that is not the way to win a game, especially with a young quarterback, having him drop back as many times as he did without there being a great balance of run to pass. And I think that kind of hurts you guys in that against a Detroit team that's up and coming. I mean, they did beat Kansas City to open up the season. This is not a bum team you guys were facing. I think you guys had what it take to get it done, but the game plan was terrible.
I would totally agree. Caleb, your thoughts?
like you guys are saying, the Packers are a horrible team, but they're not gonna get more than 9, 10 wins this season. They, uh, I feel like they haven't gotten things completely together after losing Aaron Rodgers. They thought Jordan Love was, I don't think Jordan Love's at that point yet that he can be throwing that ball as much as they wanted him to in this game. Like you said, they didn't establish the run game, and that really killed them. I mean, like if they can get that stuff together, they can get better, and I think they have some room for improvement.
I was looking at the first drive. We got that pick off of Jared Goff, and we're like on their 35. And I looked at the first play, and I went, "Okay, Matt, you're going to throw the ball. Mistake." And the second play, you're in a passing shotgun. I'm like, Matt, you're not going to throw it again, are you? You threw it again. And then on the third down, Jordan Love got sacked in an attempt to throw the ball. I thought that Matt LaFleur, in my mind, at that very moment, I thought, Matt, you're not going to do this the entire game, are you? I mean, you're not. You can't throw against an effective front four with a depleted offensive line. On top of that, with a young quarterback, and you're going to throw every down. That is on Matt LaFleur, period. I like what you said, Stu. Horrible game plan. Matt LaFleur called a horrible game. Do the Packers have the ability to beat the Lions? I do believe they have the ability to do that. Do I think they're as good as Detroit? No, I don't think they're as good as Detroit. I think they have work to do. They're not the team we thought they were. You can run the ball right down the Packers' throat. If you go into that game and you decide you're going to run the ball on Green Bay, you're going to beat them. You can't stop the run either. So we have some issues that's got to be shored up. So I don't think the Packers are who we thought they were. To coin a phrase by Dennis Grade for back in the day. Uh, anyway, that being said, Packers lose 34-22, a very good Detroit Lion team. The Jaguars bounced back 23-7 over the Falcons, and then the Bills destroyed the Miami Dolphins. What did we come away thinking about Buffalo and Miami collectively after this one, Stu?
It's a great game. Miami didn't look as dominant as they had been in the previous games. Josh Allen, he went off. Buffalo's defense, keeping Tua in that offense, that high powered offense in check for most of the game was kind of the big thing. Also, with Allen being 21 to 25, threw for 320 yards and 4 TDs. He had a phenomenal game, and they were the better team that night.
Caleb, your thoughts on this one?
Oh yeah, definitely. The Bills, they showed us who they were. They hadn't really proved that they were a Super Bowl contending team yet, and they went out and showed us how scary of a team they can be to play against. They they ran the ball well, they passed the ball well. They just played a beautiful game of football. Their defense was on point, and even losing some pieces like Tre'Davious White, we're praying for him. But the Bills played a real good game of football. And I feel like the Dolphins, they came in there expecting less. And when you expect less of a team, it, the Bills will take what you give them, and they'll capitalize off of that. And that's what they did.
That's exactly what they did, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show on Bog Radio, NFL edition, with Antoine, Real Stewart, and Nephew, Caleb Lopez. The Broncos and Bears in what I would call the toilet bowl game of the day. The Broncos, 31-28 over the Chicago Bears. And that was an exciting game. Two bad teams, but exciting. And no question about that. 28-3, the Ravens over the Cleveland Browns without Deshaun Watson. Stu, did you imagine that Cleveland would be that bad without Deshaun?
Oh yeah, most definitely. You know, that's been the thing with the Browns. They always had a great roster, just trying to find that quarterback. And I believe Deshaun is that quarterback. But without him, I think it showed his value. You got to see the team with the same weapons without the quarterback, and they didn't flourish. They didn't operate at a high level that we're used to seeing them operate at. And I think it showed Deshaun's value in that organization and in that team, and that he is the guy. And that he was definitely missed on Sunday.
Then we had Tennessee destroying the Cincinnati Bengals 27-3. Caleb, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, just when we thought the Bengals had started to get it together, started to get in a rhythm, they just come out there and play a real ugly game, getting beat like a team, getting beat by a team like Tennessee, the Titans. They're they're not a franchise that anyone should be scared of playing against, especially uh, a Super Bowl contender like the Bengals have been these past few years. They're really not looking like themselves, and they got to figure it out sooner or later.
Well, to your point, the Tennessee Titans are not very good. And that is going to be a subject regarding the Cincinnati Bengals and being good or not good or whatever Super Bowl team. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. The Rams, 29-23 over the Colts. Tampa Bay over the Saints, 26-9. The Eagles and Commanders, 34-31 in an overtime win, no less. Your thoughts on this game right here and the legitimacy of the Eagles being one of the top tier teams, Stu?
Oh yeah, a rival game, division game. Washington showed that they should be in the conversation as far as competing. Um, the quarterback Sam Howell had a much better game. It seemed like they kind of got in their rhythm. He was on time with his throws. The offense was looking good. Philly showed that why for some people they think that they're the second best team in the league right now, or at least second best, or you can argue first in NFC. That they can win those tight games because good teams win close games. When you don't show up and you don't have your best game, can you still win the close one? And Philly showed that they're able to do that, and that's what separated them from the Washington Commanders.
Absolutely. Minnesota over the Panthers 21-13. The Texans destroy the Pittsburgh
Mm.
Steelers 30-6. Caleb, your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, the Texans are looking like a pretty good team. They've come out to play these past few games. CJ Stroud, he's looking like a real top tier quarterback. And as long as they keep this going, I think they have something. They have something that they'll be able to show later in this season. Maybe playoffs. They're looking real good. I have to give it to them for a team that no one really expected much of at the beginning of the season.
The LA Chargers bounced to 500 with their win over the Raiders 24-17. No Jimmy Garoppolo. The Dallas Cowboys just simply destroyed the New England Patriots, and they became that team that we know they're capable of being, and just absolutely obliterate the New England Patriots. The 49ers struggled a little bit with the Cardinals, and then they pulled away 35-16. Stu, take the floor.
Oh yeah, it's a tough divisional game. The Cardinals were coming off of that great win against the Cowboys. They were feeling themselves a little bit. Big brother had to put them in check.
Yeah,
All that running stuff they were doing on the Cowboys wasn't going to work against our defense, and it came down to who could be the most physical, and that's what we do. Christian McCaffrey, goodness gracious, he balled out.
he
Four
did.
TDs. Um, it was a collective effort. From the receiving core, um, the quarterback Purdy, he almost went perfect. He was 20 for 21, 283, one TD. So he was one completion away from being perfect. Brandon Ayuk balled out with 6 receptions, 148 yards. We Debo was hurt. He was just like a decoy out there. It was a great team win, and we showed that no matter whose number it is, we can beat you. We can beat you with Debo. We can beat you with Ayuk. We can beat you with McCaffrey. We can beat you with Kittle. It's however the game is flowing. But I think the 49ers showed that they are a resilient team and that they can beat you in multiple ways, and that defense is for real.
And it sets the stage for a huge matchup next Sunday night as the Cowboys and 49ers mix it up. And I think the whole nation is going to be watching that game with great anticipation to see who comes out on top there. That's going to be a great matchup. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. The Chiefs 23-20 over the Jets, and the Seattle Seahawks over the Giants on Monday Night Football last night 24-3. And as we go to NFL headlines, it kind of leads me to my first question regarding that very game. Did the Giants, Caleb, make a mistake paying Daniel Jones?
That's a hard question to answer. See, he hasn't been playing like a $200 million around there quarterback,
Well, they paid
and
him $42 million, which is
or
way too much
well, yeah,
in and of
40.
itself. But yes, continue. I digress. Go ahead.
Yeah, uh, but I feel like yes, but no. It's this thing like if they hadn't paid him, it would have been. I feel like a little bit of a struggle to find a quarterback. I feel better than Daniel Jones, even though he's not good. But he's not worth the money. And I feel like as soon as the Giants have the opportunity to replace him, they will, and they're gonna regret paying him that all that money that they could have used on some better talent.
Absolutely. So, Stu, your thoughts on that question?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I think that everyone in the organization and around the world knows that Danny Dime shouldn't have got that money. He didn't prove that he didn't earn the money. It was just a situation where this is our guy and he did okay for 1 year. We went to the playoffs and let's just give him a bag, but that was way too soon. And he's proving now that why you gotta actually see a quarterback in different situations and have them be consistent in that, showing that nah, this wasn't a gimmick or this wasn't just a one off. That I'm the real deal, and I think that he's showing the world that he is not the real deal.
Now, in his defense, they were missing three starters on the offensive line. And then you go and look at Brian Dayball's play calling machination here, and you go, okay, we don't have Saquon Barkley, so we're going to put Daniel in this situation to be Danny Dimes. Okay, first of all, he's not Danny Dimes. Let's get rid of that name. Let's just stop it right now. Let's just stop that. And so now he's running for his life, and Daniel Jones plays somewhat uh, as, as a buffoon in some cases. Like, what are you doing? And so you look at the Giants without Saquon, and Daniel Jones to me is a guy that hasn't figured out the quarterback position yet, in the sense of paying him franchise money.
Right.
And so now you're 1-3, don't know when Saquon's going to come back, and I do think the Giants made a mistake in paying him that money, and I think there are quarterbacks out there that you could maybe hire to do at least as good of a job for less money. You want to pay $42 million. There's some backups out there that you can find that are better than Daniel Jones. There are backups out there that are better than Daniel Jones. My gosh, all you got to do is look at the guy. Trey Lance is better than Daniel Jones, as far as I'm concerned, and he's only had a sample size of experience out there. But there are guys in the NFL that can come out there and that are backups that can play better than what we've seen Daniel Jones show up to this point. But we got a lot of football left. I thought it was a genuine question because he got paid over the summer, and they're 1-3, and they're looking bad. I mean, the only game they've been competitive in is against Arizona, where they won. The other three games, they were embarrassed. And so you just look at them, you go, did they make the right decision? I don't think they did. Our next NFL headline is: are the Houston Texans a team to be feared, Stu?
I wouldn't say feared, but I would say that they're exceeding above expectations. CJ Stroud is proving every bit of what he was in the draft pick that he got in the first round. He looks phenomenal. I mean, he's even on par breaking records with some of the great names on their first four starts in this league. Last week he was 16 of 30. He had 306 yards, two TDs, zero picks. He's been showing me consistency, and he's only 4 games into the NFL. Just think of it this way: C.J. Stroud and Trey Lance had the same amount of starts in the NFL. That shows you the picture of how much playing time Trey has had, and I like it, man. I'm rooting for them. You know, their head coach, which is the 49ers defensive coordinator last year. He's doing a great job with that team. He's a great motivator of men, and I think that the Texans will be solidifying their spot as a team to be reckoned with in the upcoming years. This year, with the AFC so loaded as it is, I don't think they're going to make any noise or put any fear in the Buffalo Bills or the Chiefs or any of those top teams. But I think they can give some people a run for their money and may make an exciting playoff push, maybe getting a wild card or something.
Caleb, your thoughts on the Texans?
Yeah, I agree with that. They're a team to be cautious with. If you don't go out there and play real hard nosed football with them, they'll come and punch you in the mouth. It's the way CJ Stroud has been playing. He's been playing real big boy football. He's he's been putting up numbers consistently, and if he keeps playing like this, it's looking real. They have a bright future ahead of them, and it's they're gonna be a. You have to be cautious with them. I'd say.
I'll say this. I think the Texans' first two losses were competitive. They were like in both of those games that they lost. The games that they did win, they blew their competition away. Jacksonville being one of them, a division rival, I do believe, a week before. And then they get a hold of the Pittsburgh Steelers and humiliate the Steelers. There's only been one other team this year to humiliate Pittsburgh, and it was San Francisco. And I'm just looking at the mojo that Houston seems to be developing. Again, it's young. The season's young. We don't know what we're dealing with yet, but they're starting to look like a team you might want to take seriously instead of saying, yeah, this is going to be a win today. Because before the season started, that's what you said. You looked at your schedule and you saw Houston. Well, we got that one. No, 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 no. I don't think that's the case right now. I think you better game plan for the Houston Texans because they're starting to look a little dangerous. We're not going to crown them yet. We're only 4 weeks in. Next headline: Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers. Right now, to this point, he's 9-0 as the starter. I could be wrong about that, Stu. That's your team. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he's undefeated as a finishing starter. He
That is
went
correct.
20. Thank you, sir. He went 20 of 21 this weekend. And he seems to be the perfect fit for Kyle Shanahan's offense. Your thoughts, Stu?
Oh yeah, most definitely. He is the perfect point guard for that offense. He gets the ball out quick. He makes the right reads. He's athletic enough in the pocket to escape if he needs to. He's always looking downfield to complete a throw. Um, he's a lovable guy. He's a Christian. I want to definitely point that out. You
Didn't
know,
know
he
that.
he
Good to know.
he is a Christian. He commands respect from the group of men that he commands in there. He's a leader. He has some moxie to him. George Kittle was saying, he would mess with him a lot as a rookie, and he would just fire right back at him. Like he said, okay, yeah, I definitely respect that. But he's the perfect point guard. He's a playmaker. He's a playmaker. He's gutsy. He's everything that you look for in a quarterback as far as all the tangibles. He didn't have the height and the size that a lot of the scouts were looking for. And that was a big flaw in the scouting department, that they're missing out on a lot of great quarterbacks just looking for that 6'5", 230-pound guy. He's showing that he is like a Drew Brees. He is, and we have the things to go around him that makes his job easier with McCaffrey going off. You got Kyle Shanahan dialing it up. You got playmakers on everywhere he looks. We got a good offensive line around him, so it just makes it that much easier for him. But I think everyone in the world sees that he has far exceeded expectations, going from Mr. Irrelevant to Mr. Relevant.
The one thing that you can't measure is heart. And he's got a ton of heart. Caleb, your thoughts on Mr. Brock Purdy?
Yeah, he's an accurate, uh, athletic, great quarterback. He's a perfect fit, and they have a great line, great running back core, great wide receivers for him to throw to. Their coaching staff is amazing, and it just like all of those pieces clicked perfectly for him to get on the team, and he really he knocked it off really well, and now I think he's that franchise guy that he's gonna be there for a while, and he's in that locker room, and the players respect him, as you were saying, Stu. He really is the perfect guy for the 49ers right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show NFL edition with Antoine Real Stewart and nephew Caleb Lopez on Bog Radio in association with 24 Flicks. Is it time? Because I gotta ask this question about Joe Burrow. Now they were humiliated by a very poor team, 27-3. They were able to beat the Rams last week, but Joe Burrow's not healthy. It's just that simple. Is it time for the Bengals, Stu, in your humble opinion, to shut down Joe Burrow for the season?
Not at all. Not at all. I actually was watching that game earlier, watching a lot of the clips, and the game was a lot closer than what the score showed. The O line was struggling tremendously. And I want to set something straight about the Titans. The Titans are not a bad team. Actually, over the last couple of years, the Titans, have been in the playoff run. They have a great defense, and it's tough to stop Derrick Henry when healthy. And they just got a weapon, and my boy B Hop, um, and they have some young guys that are stepping up around Tannehill. Tannehill is not an all-star quarterback, but I would say he's above average quarterback. And with the weapons they have and the way that defense was playing, oh my goodness. Burrows was running for his life back there. It was kind of like he didn't have that much time to throw at all. They didn't make the best out of the opportunities that they had. And the Titans were pulling everything out of the bag from Henry, not only running for a touchdown, but throwing for a touchdown. I think that Cincinnati is a team that I'll just say, just wait. I believe they'll get as Burrows gets healthy. I believe that they'll figure it out and make this last minute push. As the season progresses, I think they'll be in the thick of things for maybe like a wild card, or they may slip in there. But I wouldn't sound the alarms just yet, because we know what they're capable of when they're hot.
Caleb, your thoughts on shutting down Joe Burrow?
I mean, like, you never want to have an injured quarterback playing for you, but then again, I don't see a viable option for them to put there that could really fix things at the point that they're at. And if Joe Burrow can at least find a little bit of rhythm, find that spark, he can get things done as he always has. But their line, as you were talking about, Stu, they always kill them. It's always been a problem for them, and they just, as I've been saying, they need to figure things out. But I don't think it's ever time to shut down a starting quarterback like that, unless things are getting really really bad, which I don't think they're at that point yet.
Joe Burrow was just paid $275 million. He's injured. He's got a serious calf injury that he's able to manufacture through. That line's always been bad, and a healthy Joe Burrow has been able to manipulate around that pretty well. He's injured. And if they keep playing around, he may get injured to the point where it's an Achilles tear. And he's in an Aaron Rodgers situation where he can't come back to the middle part of next year. Although there is talk that Aaron is talking about coming back this season. And that's probably because he was in one of those tents. Anyway, I'll leave that alone and just say that Joe Burrow is running the risk of getting injured to the extent where he may be out for the year. And if I'm an owner, I don't want to see that. I paid too much money for this guy to be laid up in the hospital room and maybe even have his career threatened. But that's just my take on that. We watched the Dallas Cowboys destroy the New England Patriots 38-3. We're not that surprised about that because we know Dallas is capable of doing that. But I think we all believed that New England and Belichick would come in there and put up a fight and make life challenging for the Cowboys to some extent. Certainly not going down 38-3, which begs the question: is the Mac Jones experiment over in New England, Stu?
I I don't think he's going to be the guy next year.
Yeah,
You know, in my opinion, he was overrated when they drafted him.
yeah,
Mac Jones got the praise because he was on Alabama. And he was on an all-star
right.
cast, loaded roster, where two receivers went before him in the draft. That shows you how great that roster was.
Yeah,
Um, he hasn't shown me anything. He's shown me that he's, in my opinion, a below average, or you can call him an average quarterback. They did face a good team, a good defense, and the Dallas Cowboys, a good passing defense. And looking at these stats, the running game didn't do them any favors. Uh, uh, what's his name? Rashandre Stevenson had 14 carries for 30 yards. Ezekiel Elliott, the big Dallas game, he had 6 carries for 16 yards. And Mac Jones, he carried the ball 3 times for 7 yards. I mean, the New England Patriots teams that we're used to seeing, they play stout defense, they run the ball well, and they have a quarterback, the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, methodically pick you apart. And they didn't have any of that. They looked like sorry chumps. It was a bad performance for them. And knowing how Bill Belichick is, I'm pretty sure he's going to wreck house, and there are going to be some changes happening. He's going to have to start ruling with an iron fist the way he's used to, taking people's lunch money and stuff like that. But we'll see about that. But yeah, Mac Jones definitely. I think the experiment should be over.
Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, 40-0. Daniel Jones, 38-3. Mac Jones, what are they? First cousins? Caleb,
The
your
Joneses.
thoughts. Should they move on from Mac Jones? Is the experiment over in New England?
Oh yeah, it definitely should be coming to a close. They should have the conclusion statement. It's over. Mac Jones is not the guy that they thought he was. As you were saying, that uh, in college football, in college, he had one of the best teams I'd say to ever play, and it's like he's he's not Tom Brady. He's
No,
not.
he's not Tom Brady. No.
It's he's not gonna methodically pick you apart. They're not establishing the running game, and that's not helping him either. And I feel like if they get a decently good draft pick, they're gonna get a quarterback. If they can pick someone up over this next off season, they're gonna do it. I feel like Bill Belichick is gonna try to get rid of Mac Jones. He he's not a good fit. I don't think he's a good fit for any team. He's a below average quarterback. He's not doing anything that we expected him to do.
No, he does not jump off the page when you watch him play. Now, I want to switch gears to the Buffalo Miami game where the Bills did a tap dance on a team that we thought was, pretty unstoppable. And we found out they can be stopped and that they can be stomped on. And my question is, has Josh Allen done enough to convince us that the Bills are the AFC Super Bowl favorite to this point, Stu?
Um, as far as Super Bowl favorite, my personal opinion, I would say no.
Okay.
There's a guy on the other side named Patrick Mahomes that has that a whole nother gear that we've seen on so many different levels, even playing injured last year in the playoffs with an injury that I don't even know how he got up out the bed, yet alone won those playoff games and ended up winning a Super Bowl on that leg.
Right.
Um,
Right.
he's always going to be the favorite. I think it's kind of like one of those things where he has the crown until you take it from him. And Buffalo, Josh Allen has to show that they can take it from him. The thing about Josh Allen is great quarterback, but he's inconsistent. He'll have a game where he's two touchdowns, 2 picks, but a lot of yards, and they lose, and he'll have a game like what he showed against Miami where he played flawless. But can he do that on a consistent basis and beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? That's when it's gonna come down to in the playoffs, because he's shown that Joe Barrows is the only quarterback on the AFC that's shown that they have the ability to beat that team when it counts the most. And until Josh Allen proves that, in my book, he'll always be second to Patrick Mahomes.
Caleb, your thoughts?
Yeah, that was real perfect. I feel like Josh Allen, he's always going to be a great quarterback. He's a great player. The Bills are a scary team to play against. They showed that this Sunday, and uh, they're a great team. But the Chiefs, I feel like they've built almost a dynasty. They're almost like uh, Tom Brady and the New England Patriots back in the day when they were good. I feel like that's how uh, the Chiefs are. Like you said, you got to take the crown. Then you can say, okay, they're the favorites for the Super Bowl. But I feel like Josh Allen hasn't done that yet. It's a little bit too early to say that they're the AFC Super Bowl favorite. The AFC has a lot of great teams, but you can't deny that they're up there. I put them at like number two right now.
Our final NFL headline, we had a game on Sunday which could be called the toilet bowl between the Denver Broncos and the Chicago Bears. And the Bears got in position. Here we are, 28-28, fourth and one in field goal territory, and you decide to go for it and you fail. And the Broncos come back, beat you at Soldier Field. That's your place. And you're sitting at 0-4, and Justin Fields goes 23 of 24, and they still found a way to lose the ball game. My question is it time for the Bears to overhaul their entire coaching staff? Stu.
I think so, man. They definitely got to figure out what's going on from top to bottom, whether that's head coaches fired, offensive coordinators fired, defensive coordinators fired. They're gonna have to shake things up.
Yeah.
We know Fields can ball, he can play, but they haven't figured out the best way to put him in position to win games. Um, just looking at the stats, if I didn't tell you they lost or the scores of the game, he had a good game. Fields was 28 for 35, 335 yards, 4 TDs and a pick. He didn't play bad at all. They just didn't get it done. And in this league, you got to get it done. You're going to need the offense, defense, special teams all playing on a high level. And the Bears are 0-4 right now. So this is not the product that they wanted to put on the field. This is not what they were trying to sell to the fans. They were trying to sell that we got something good with Justin Fields and we're turning over a new leaf, and they haven't. So they're definitely going to have to get down to the roots of what's going on in the problem and see if they can fix it, see who needs to keep their job and who doesn't. But the ownership is definitely going to have to shake things up.
Caleb, your thoughts about the Bears coaching staff?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because Justin Fields showed us that he's not bad. He went out there, he played a pretty good game, and I feel like you said, they're gonna have to shake things up either this off season or maybe mid season if things get real rough. I mean, like it's unacceptable. It's like you can't have uh, a talented quarterback like Justin Fields. He's shown us that he can play. He's shown us that he's uh, a real pretty big talent if he has the pieces. They got him some pretty good pieces this offseason, but it's just something's not clicking. And the way I'm seeing it, it's the coaching staff. So they're gonna have to do something about that.
There's no question about it. You're listening to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show NFL edition on Bog Radio in association with 24 Flicks with Antoine Real Stewart and my nephew Caleb Lopez, who is the starting kicker for the number one AAU 13 football team in the country. And Caleb is in the 8th grade and in line to be the starting field goal kicker for his high school next year. So we'll see what happens there. Let's look at the NFC and the top 5 teams I've got listed, and as follows: the 49ers at number 1, followed by the Cowboys and their beatdown of the Patriots, showing us, yeah, they're real. The Eagles, Lions, and Seahawks. Your thoughts on that list, Stu?
Oh yeah. I got the 49ers at 1. I got Eagles at 2.
Okay.
Um we'll give the Cowboys 3 for now.
Okay.
And you know, I got Detroit at 4 and then the Commanders at 5. Um
Whoa.
oh yeah. I mean,
Very interesting. You
I,
surprised you with that one, Stu?
oh yeah, I got the Commanders at 5 because just off of strength of schedule alone, the Commanders, they went neck and neck to overtime with the Eagles. You know they're playing I think better teams than what the Cowboys are playing. You know, the Cowboys are about about to see them face a real good team this week and see how they do. You know, they
You
lost to
remember what
Arizona.
Buffalo did to him, don't you?
Eh, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. My bad. My bad. Go ahead. Continue. Continue. Yes.
Oh yeah. But I mean, again, Buffalo's a great team. You know, we just talked about them being a Super Bowl favorite in that talks. You know, the Commanders, I think, are at the fifth. I wouldn't put anyone. You could say Tampa Bay. I don't believe in Tampa Bay with what's their quarterback?
Baker.
Baker. I'm not
Mayfield.
sold on the Baker Maker. I said Baker Maker project just yet. Mayfield project. You know they've been putting it together. The defense has been playing phenomenal. But when I look at as far as the team goes, from the receivers to running back to offense and defense, that's why I had the Commanders at 5. Of course, I had Dallas and Philly 49ers and Detroit. Detroit's 3-1. They win in their division. I don't see the Packers. Are the only team I can see that can make a push. To go against Detroit if they can figure out their situation. If Matt LaFleur can figure out his situation, but yeah, I think that's my list, man.
Okay. I know the Buffalo players were yelling up at the stands in DC when they destroyed them 37-3 because the fans were leaving early and they were like, "Go home, go home, everybody, go home." Anyway, Caleb, your thought. Hey, Caleb, your thoughts on the Power Five NFC list?
Yeah, the 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles. I don't put the Cowboys over the Eagles. I feel like they've shown a little bit more. I feel like they're real close teams.
Yeah.
Both of them haven't been playing super amazing football, but it has garnered them wins. So I have to
Yes.
say, uh, I'm gonna put the Cowboys and then the Eagles, Lions, and the Seahawks and the Commanders. See, like the Commanders, they're a okay team to play against. They haven't shown us much. They got beat up the past few weeks.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna keep the Seahawks. I agree with your list,
Yeah, I,
Maurice.
I I think the Commanders have the potential, Stu, to be a very good team, but I don't trust them. They always play the Eagles tough for whatever reason. I just looked at that one as one of those divisional scraps, where the Commanders they just tend to step up when they're playing within their division. They play the Cowboys tough. They play the Giants. They just play tough within their division. Get outside the division, and it's like, oh my gosh, what's this? Anyway, we'll see what happens. AFC Power Five. I'm looking at the Bills at number one, followed by the Chiefs, Dolphins, Ravens, and Texans. Your thoughts on that list, Stu?
I agree with that list. I think you got it spot on in my opinion. As far as what's happened within 4 games,
Right.
yes, what's happened in 4 games, I believe that list is spot on. The Bills are showing that they're the most dominant team right now within 4 games. Miami's up there, but I'm not as high on Miami as the rest of the world is. They're fun to watch, but I kind of know the secret on them. They're going to struggle against top defenses that can score. With an offense that can kind of keep up a little bit, they're going to kind of struggle with that. The 49ers showed last year how you beat Miami before Tua got hurt. And who was the third one? You said the Texans.
I've got the Ravens at five. I'm four, and then the Texans at five.
Yeah, Ravens are playing consistent ball like we're used to seeing, and the Texans surprisingly, as you mentioned earlier, are showing that they are a team to you can't sleep on them. That's not an easy win anymore. When you go in there, you got to know that we can possibly get beat. They're playing a high level football right now, and I think the way things are going, to be honest, I think they have a great chance of making the playoffs. The Colts don't scare me. Jaguars don't scare me. The Titans are a team that, out of all those teams, I think that if they get clicking with that defense and that running game, they're a little more seasoned than those other teams. They're kind of like a bunch of young guys, young quarterbacks and stuff like that. But I think that's listed spot on.
I don't trust the Titans at all. They're up and down. They're just very inconsistent. Your opinion, Caleb, of this Power Five list for the AFC?
The Bills definitely showed that they're a top team this weekend, so I can putting them at one. Chiefs are always there too. Dolphins, Ravens, Texans. Those three teams, they're always scary to play against. The Dolphins, especially, they were really on a roll before the Bills came in and kind of put them in their place. But we can't downplay them. They're still a really good team. I'm sure that they're gonna get it together. Probably gonna go out win this weekend, but we'll talk about that later. The Ravens, they're a good team. They went out and beat the Browns this weekend by quite a bit, and the Texans they're looking pretty good, and they're 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 exceeding expectations by a lot. And if CJ Stroud continues playing the way he is, they're gonna be a contender for going to the playoffs, maybe a wild card around there. But you can't count them out.
It doesn't look like you can count them out at this stage of the game. Early in the season, we're at the quarter mark, and they look like a team that might make some noise. Now, for the entire NFL, I've listed the Power Five as follows: the 49ers, Bills, Eagles, Dolphins, and Cowboys. Your thoughts on that list, Stu?
I would definitely have to agree with that list. I think like with the games that have been played so far, those teams have shown to be the most dominant. Um, the Cowboys have had a pretty much easy schedule like they do every year, and they get those fans all hyped up until they start playing some real teams, and we really see what they're made out of.
Right.
Dolphins have been spot on, with the exception of this week playing a great Buffalo Bills team, but that's why the Bills rank in front of them. Philly has had a couple close games, but they showed the consistency that even though they're not playing their best football right now, the fact that they're still getting those wins when they do turn it on and start playing their best ball, they're going to be a scary team. And I think that, not being biased, but I think the 49ers have shown to be the most complete team in the league so far.
I would
Yeah.
totally agree. Caleb, your thoughts on this list?
Uh, I really agree with it. I feel like the Dolphins and the Chiefs they could be switched maybe, uh,
Okay.
but the Chiefs are definitely always in the picture. And but other than that, I feel like this is a really fair list. The 49ers, they've definitely set their spot as the number one team. The Bills came out and showed us who they really were, beating the Dolphins. Uh, the Eagles have been playing pretty deep, pretty good football, and the Dolphins, as we were talking about, they're always a pretty good team to play against, pretty scary. And the Cowboys, they always play decent football at the very least.
So that's the Power Five for the NFL, and I took the Chiefs out of that top five because they struggled against the Jets. The three wins that they have, two of those were kind of difficult wins, and they blew out a very bad Bear team, and they lost to the Lions at home at Arrowhead. Not that it's a shame to lose to Detroit, but it was at Arrowhead Stadium. So I'm kind of looking at the Chiefs. Hey, this is just a sample size of the year. We got a lot of football left, but I think as it stands, I would leave them out of that top five. Let's look at the games coming up for week 5, starting with Thursday night. We've got the Bears and the Commanders on Prime Video at 8:15 p.m. I don't think that deserves a lot of commentary. And we'll go into Sunday, week 5, uh, in London, the Jags and the Bills. Do the Jags stand a chance in this one over across the pond? Okay, Caleb, your thoughts.
Uh, They shouldn't. The Bills, they've showed us who they were. They're a real scary team to play against. They're a great team. But the Jags, they have these on and off games. Some days they can ball out, come to really play if you're not ready for them.
Yeah.
So as long as the Bills come out, play hard nosed football from the start, jump out on them, I think they should be good. They should win this game by quite a large margin, I'd say.
And Stu, your thoughts on this matchup?
Oh yeah, I agree with Caleb. The Jaguars do have that potential to make it a fun, interesting game, but I think that the way the Bills have been playing, if Josh Allen can be consistent and that defense is playing the way it's been playing, I think the Bills should have a easy win in the UK.
So we look at the 1 p.m. games on Sunday, and we don't really have any eye-popping matchups. We have at 1 o'clock Eastern time, the Texans take on the Falcons, Panthers, Lions, Titans, Colts, Giants, Dolphins. I see. Oh, that's going to be ugly. Saints, Patriots, Ravens, Steelers, Eagles versus the Rams, and then at 4:05 on Sunday we have the Bengals. Okay, the Bengals and Rams are at 4:05 also, and the Cardinals and Bengals. Jets at 4:25 travel to Denver. Not very exciting, and the
Bro.
Chiefs travel to Minnesota. I think someone mentioned Kirk Cousins. Oh yeah, let's keep moving. And then Sunday night at 8:20, clearly the game, not only of the week, but of the first quarter. The Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. Stu, take the floor.
I can't wait. Like Stephen A says, just wait for it. Just wait for it. The Cowboys fans are talking all this trash. And I'm happy that they got a great win, a dominant win, because I want those emotions to be running high. I want that confidence to be running high. I didn't want them to lose and then face them and they're already down. I want the 49ers to be able to snatch it out of just like they did in the playoffs for the last 2 years. But we're about to find out what the Cowboys are really made out of, because that defense, although at times it looks great, their biggest weakness is their kind of finesse defense. They don't like people running the ball down their throat like the Arizona Cardinals did. They don't like, they want their defensive ends, Michael Parson and crew, to be able to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback for the whole game. And they're not going to get that chance with the 49ers. And on the backside, we're coming for Dak. Dak's not going to be comfortable back there, and we're going to bring everything we got. So it's going to be a great matchup, one that I think that the 49ers will be victorious with in California. We got a home game that night, and is the bright lights are going to be out. If Dallas is America's team, we're going to see what they do on the big stage.
Caleb, your thoughts on this Titan matchup?
Yeah, it's gonna be a real good game. I mean, like I think the 49ers should win this game. It's gonna be close. The Cowboys have a great defense, but as you said, they don't like uh very physical football. If you can really get your running back through those behind your center, your guard, and just pound it in the middle over and over again, they're gonna give up some pretty good yards. And uh I mean, like, I feel like that's what the 49ers are going to do. And if the Cowboys aren't ready for that, that might be a killer thing for them. Another thing is, as you said, Stu, uh, Dak Prescott, he's going to be real nervous in that pocket with the 49ers front four coming after him play after play. It's it's a real tough game for the Cowboys. I think more than for the 49ers, but it still should be a good game. Both teams should go out and play some pretty good football.
I'm going to pick the 49ers in this game, but I'm going to give the Cowboys a shot simply because they tend to play the 49ers close. And the one thing I've noticed about the Cowboy front four and their rush is that of the 4 games that we've seen this year, the only team to give them a problem was a mobile quarterback in Joshua Dobbs. It wasn't Daniel. Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson, and Mac Jones. They were like sitting targets. They're not athletic, and Brock Purdy's not athletic. And Michael Parsons and that crew, they're coming. That I can tell you right now. They are coming. And so it will come down to whether or not that offensive line can protect Brock Purdy. It's going to come down to those two lines. San Francisco's offensive line versus the Cowboys' defensive line. That's where the game's going to be decided, in my opinion. And if the 49ers can protect Brock, the Cowboys are going to be in a world of trouble. But if they can't, I think it could bring some issues, and it may give Dallas an opportunity to win the game. But I'm sticking with the 49ers because I just don't trust Dak Prescott. I just don't trust him. And when things get hot in the kitchen, you get your knife, your fork, get the salt, get the pepper. Let me get my napkin here. It's time to eat because we're getting ready to win this ball game. Everybody, let's have a party. So Dak Prescott is going to have to show, much like Josh Allen, when things get hot in the kitchen, can you respond? I think this is going to be a good game. I think they're going to get after Brock. And I think it's going to come down to whether or not Prescott can answer that call and win the ball game for the Cowboys. It's going to be another opportunity for Dak Prescott to show that he can lead this team. I'm picking the 49ers. He's got to prove it to me. I don't think he can do it. I know he's capable, but I'm going to go with the 49ers. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our take. And we appreciate you for listening to the show. I'm Maurice Brown of the Maurice Brown Comedy Show, NFL Edition, with Antoine, Real Stewart, and Nephew Caleb Lopez on Bog Radio in association with 24 Flicks. You can listen to this show in its entirety where all major podcasts are heard. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, you name it. We are there. So, hey, I just say, look, everybody sit back, enjoy the games this weekend. Actually, we only got one really, really good game, and that's the Cowboys and the 49ers. I failed to mention my boys, the Packers. They travel out to Las Vegas to play the Raiders. We don't need to talk about that. Hey, guys, thanks a lot for being on the show, and may the peace of Christ be with you and your families, guys. God bless you.
God bless.